Going, MVP, MVP. You just say he has 3 brothers and one's name is Dante?
Yeah, Dante, Dana, and
Dante.
I would definitely want to try a spaghetti and meatball Pop-Tart. I mean, who would a TSA office over there? Spider!
I would also be the one that tickles the snail as well. Because think about how easy of a
I don't
job
doubt that.
I have no idea what you're talking about.
No, I don't either.
Suzanne's Paparazzi Jewelry, 24/7 shopping available. 160920 is the code. Show her some love, like she showed us.
And good evening, everybody, and welcome into the Coast to Coast Entertainment Network on this Monday evening, September 18th, 2023, for another edition of Kicking It with Ace and Isaiah, but both Adam Barber and Isaiah Leung are both out for the night. So with that in mind, they called up a couple of guys out of the bullpen for this Monday edition of Kicking It, where, again, the most random topics you can think of will be discussed on this program. It is a two-man game right now alongside our executive producer and director of C2C programming, the one, the only, the incomparable Crispy Bacon. Chris Mabry joining us from down in Texas, and yours truly, Cal McClure, joining you here from the home studios in San Diego. We are also joined by a third member of our Coast to Coast team. That is, of course, our Between the Ropes co-host, Christy Wilson, joining us out in the great state of Montana. Mr. Bacon, good to see you, man. How we doing tonight?
Good. Doing good.
And Christy, thank you for coming on kind of like last minute. It's good to see you, and how's it going? And it's nice to see you on a program again. It's been a while, I know.
Yeah, it has been a while, and I've been doing good. Just been busy with just life in general.
Haven't we all? We
Yeah,
basically have all
exactly.
been there.
Exactly.
Yeah, exactly. So, of course, folks, as a reminder on this Kicking It on Monday night here, September 18th again, this is a general reminder. This is not a ordinary, regular sports talk show again. We come your way and talk some of the weird, out of the blue, like Twilight Zone style topics that only can be consummated by our co-host or our fellow main hosts of this program, both Adam Barber and Isaiah Leung, but both Adam and Isaiah are off on this Monday night. But again, folks, we want your input. Again, we have some pretty interesting topics that Adam conjured up earlier in the day. So again, fire away in the live chat box, and we'll do our absolute best, as always, to ensure that your content is read live on the air on this Monday. With that, guys, and obviously, we know, of course, that right now things in Hollywood are at a major standstill right now, guys, with the ongoing strike involving the SAG and the writers right now in Hollywood. There's been a lot of deliberations, a lot of, not a lot of progress being made, and it's really, been hitting the entertainment industry very hard. Having friends who live up in the greater LA County who work as stunt people, stunt doubles, or they work in Hollywood in general. And it's really, been basically, really hitting, their income. It's really been affecting their livelihoods and stuff. I know there's been a lot of controversy about like Drew Barrymore, Kelly Clarkson, a lot of the talk shows that were being talked about. And actually, as a matter of fact, we're diving into our first topic, every morning I usually get up in time to watch both Let's Make a Deal and The Price is Right on our CBS station. And something came up from my parents this morning that the Let's Make a Deal episode was a repeat. And then something else came up during the 10 o'clock program, or during the 10 o'clock showing The Price is Right, that was also a repeat. And it got me wondering, I even wonder if even like the game shows are being affected right now by the strike. Now, I don't think that would probably be a thing, but it has seemed like CBS has mainly been reshowing a lot of, Let's Make a Deal reruns or Price is Right reruns over the past several days, it seems like. But Chris, with that in mind, though, we're going to start off in Hollywood. Chris, give us the movie that you personally liked, but people thought was dumb. You know, I think I've seen like a text post meme about this sort of post, like, drop your favorite, drop a band that you like, but other people hate,
Right.
Nickelback for all that I know, perhaps. But maybe how about the movie that you personally liked, but people thought was dumb? I think you can go a lot of different ways here, but what do you think it is?
I would have to say, maybe the scary movie franchises.
Yeah, that's kind of
Scary movie franchises. I mean, I would probably agree that
yeah.
I kind of feel like Christy, you might agree with me that I kind of feel like it is a bit of a, I wouldn't really call it a problem, but it's almost like, can you keep telling the same stories over and over and over
Yeah.
again? It's like
It's
it's
just-
almost like kind of like in a way like the Rocky series, for example.
Yeah.
I know people got burned out on Rocky 5 and then they made the
Yep.
other spin-offs. Then they
Mhm.
went to following Apollo's son in another spin-off, basically.
Yep.
Fast and Furious comes to
I
mind.
was gonna
I was
say,
going to
could you say
mention
Fast
that.
and
That was
Furious?
another one. I'm like, they
Furious,
just
so-
keep cranking them out. It's like, how many more can you do?
So it's almost like, where is the line to stop? Pump
Yeah.
the brakes and stop
Mhm.
while you're ahead.
Exactly.
But I certainly think, though, that there are like films out there that obviously are great that you personally, utterly enjoy, but like maybe the general public wasn't fully on board. I may honestly think of like, maybe I can only think of, this is actually a very hard topic for me to figure out in regards to, movies that I personally, because, okay, maybe I'll say this. The Star Wars prequels and the Star Wars sequel trilogies are probably where I would go because,
Me too.
my parents, your parents, all of our parents, grew up
Yep.
with the originals 4, 5, and
Yeah.
6 in the 70s and the 80s.
Mhm.
When I was in
Yeah.
kindergarten, I think that was in 99 or like 99, 2000.
Mhm.
That's when episode 1 came out. And like, that's
Right.
what got me into it, other than the fact that my older brother was also involved, or at least, also was hooked on Star Wars. So
Yeah.
like those were the characters I grew up with Hayden and Ewan and Liam Neeson, Natalie Portman, Jake
Yep.
Lloyd, all
Mhm.
those, Ahmed Best even playing, Jar Jar
Yeah.
Binks, of course,
Oh, God.
Ian McDermott playing Emperor Palpatine, along with
Oh,
playing
yeah.
the Chancellor. And then, of course, the sequels was like, it's a new way to get new people into the trilogy. Adam Driver, Daisy Ridley, John Boyega, but
Oscar Isaac.
Oscar Isaac, and things like that.
Exactly.
So if I had to pick, I would probably go the prequel and the sequel trilogies. But I probably would say the prequels because now it feels like, and I haven't really watched a lot of new Star Wars content, but having had Ahsoka spoiled because of episode 5, it's like
Oh, God.
they finally gave Hayden Christensen his due diligence.
you.
Like they finally gave him his
Thank you,
flowers.
Eminem.
They finally gave him his flowers. So for me, I would go with the prequels because now it seems like 20, 30 years later, like they're finally getting their due diligence. Like they're not having people finally, they're people are finally stopped crapping upon those 3 films. Now the sequel, I did like the story at the end of like, Kylo / Ben and Rey becoming a thing before, Ben passes away.
It
So
becomes a
Christy,
Force
for
ghost,
me, it's the prequel trilogy for Star Wars. What about you?
Yeah. It's definitely got to be the prequel trilogy for me because I'm of the age I grew up with the original trilogy, having watched the first Star Wars movie when cable television was actually very brand new at the time.
Oh goodness.
And that's what
Wow.
Yeah, I know. HBO wasn't the HBO we know it to be today.
Right.
It was so
Yeah.
ancient way back when. But yeah, that's
So
how
ancient,
I got started on
yes.
it's so ancient. But the sequels, the prequel trilogy, okay, that was fine, but thank God. Thank God they are getting their due diligence, especially Hayden Christensen. And yeah, I have been watching Ahsoka, and I have been loving it, and he is fantastic in it. So
And I would even agree about Rosario Dawson, who's been
Love
playing
her.
Ahsoka
Absolutely.
as the live action again, kind of,
Love her. She's amazing.
Ashley Eckstein starting it off with as the voiceover artist, and then it prolongs into what it is now with Rosario
Yes.
Dawson portraying her in her actual like live action form. And
Yeah.
certainly seeing, you know, Hayden coming back, and, you know, obviously the strike is mainly revolving around like the artificial intelligence stuff, but for them to
Yeah.
be able to go back and make him look like he's still what he looked like, you know, 10,
Right.
15, 20 years
Mhm.
ago, with the trilogy coming out for the first, you know, those, you know, actual 1, 2, and 3 coming out.
Exactly.
You know, and honestly, I don't know if I could think of like another, like a single movie, because I think I'm pretty
Okay.
much in like the same films that mainly everybody else out there does.
Yeah.
You know, because, you know, it was like, I think on the one of the most recent Kickin' It episodes I was a part of as a co-host, we were ranking like our top 5 movies just in general.
Yeah.
And I just
Yeah.
remember, like, okay, for this one, I'm not going to rank Star Wars or Marvel,
No.
because that was my stipulation. So it was like
Yeah.
really, you know, kind of difficult, I think, to, you know, do that. You know, and honestly, you know, maybe forget like movie, like the movie that you like but people hated. I would probably want to stay on that tangent more so, Chris and Christy, about like,
Mhm.
when do you stop with sequels in regards to
Yeah.
Fast and Furious,
Mhm.
Mission Impossible? Even I would even think Mission Impossible is
They're
another
still
one
cranking them
out
out.
there. You know, they just keep,
Mhm.
they just keep cranking them out like they're hotcakes at
Yeah, I
Denny's or
know.
IHOP every morning. You know, so I would think
That's
like
true.
Fast and Furious. I think of, you know, obviously Fast and Furious. I think of, you know, like Chris said, like scary movie. You know, how many
Mhm.
times can you remake like Halloween films? You know,
True.
like Friday the 13th, or
That's just nuts.
Yeah.
Terminator.
you know, how many times can Jamie Lee Curtis run for
Oh.
her life on Halloween night? You know,
How many times
you know,
can she
but I-
escape
but
Michael Myers? I don't know.
but yeah, but that's what I think about a lot though, is like, you know, where does like the hammer get dropped, and you just say,
Mhm.
okay, we're already like 15 deep in Fast and Furious. How can we tell the story of, you know, this, you know, basically, a car gang, basically,
Mhm.
you know, making heists for money, you
Yep.
know, or just, you know, stealing people's vehicles. And Tim actually has another one, guys.
Ooh.
The Saw,
Yeah.
Saw. Yep. That's another one.
How many
Texas
have they
Chainsaw
made?
Massacre.
Yeah, Texas Chainsaw
Yeah.
Massacre is another one.
Chucky.
I'm trying to Chucky. Well, they got the
Chucky's
I
TV
another
mean,
one.
you
series.
have the TV show,
They
you
got
had
the
the
TV. Yeah, they
movies.
have the TV series on the Sci-Fi Network and everything. They recently did a new version of Child's Play. Recently, maybe like a
Here's another
couple of
one,
years ago.
guys. One of
Ooh.
my hockey
Um,
buddies, Chris Bulow, writes in,
For the
Conjuring
Conjuring.
doing one of those
Yeah.
series too.
Exactly.
And it always seems like it's around like this time of the year where they start like cranking out like another version of like The Nun, The Conjuring,
God.
The Haunting, you know, Nightmare on Elm Street. It seems like, you know, another Scream. You know, Scream is another one I would
Scream
even
is another.
think of.
Yeah.
You know, like it seems like they
Mhm.
had like a new one come out a year or two ago. So I don't know, Chris. Maybe other than like the movie, how about the one maybe potential movie sequel that maybe you like that maybe others don't?
Hmm.
Ooh, movie sequel.
It's gonna be hard.
Yeah, I'm trying to think of some I've
Me too.
watched.
Because Christy, I would go with the Star Wars sequel of like, I liked it, but I know a lot of people were throwing tomatoes at it.
Yes.
I'm not sure. I mean, that's a tricky one because I'm trying to think
It
of
is
all of
tricky.
them. And yeah.
Yeah.
Hmm.
I don't know.
It's just
I
hard to
think
pick
that this,
one.
I think that this topic, it can go so many different ways, because and again, for me, it's hard though to find films that the general public may not like. Okay, the exception maybe of Star Wars in general. So let me just, separate, let me separate myself from the 9 Star Wars films.
Okay.
For me, it's really hard, I think, to find a film that I like that I don't think the general public didn't like. Chris is also saying, how about Godfather 2? Laugh face.
God.
I'm kidding.
No.
No, I don't think so. I don't think the Godfather, I don't think the Godfather has been as overdone. I'd say Chris is like, Fast and Furious, any of like, Halloween films in general.
Oh God.
Mission Impossible.
Mission
Impossible for sure.
Stop with that. Oh,
yeah,
God.
I agree for sure. With that,
Terminator, they kept going with that. They should have just stopped after T2.
I think after the third
the
film,
perfect ending.
After the third film, I would have stopped, honestly.
Yeah. I would stop.
You know,
I
I
guess
really
on
think
this,
so.
I guess on the sequel, you could probably say that the newest Top Gun.
Top Gun Maverick.
Yeah.
Never saw it.
Honestly,
A lot of
okay,
people
so
say it wasn't good. I thought it was good, but
and okay, so let me actually stay on that point because that was actually, Chris, the movie I was going to list on last Monday,
Oh.
but it eluded my brain sadly. And yet
Oh,
here I live in
no.
San Diego where Top Gun was filmed and where the Navy put the school before it went to Fallon, Nevada. Is
Damn.
that obviously I didn't grow up in '86 when the first movie came out, but having seen the original, having
Yes.
read about the like the outpouring of like how bomber jacket sales went up in the 80s,
Mhm.
Ray-Ban
They
aviator shade or
did.
sunglass sales had gone up. Like
Yep.
it was basically like Jerry Bruckheimer giving the Navy free recruiting, like a free recruiting tool to use for the
Yeah.
Navy.
Mhm.
So, that's what I more think of. And it's actually, it's pretty, it's obviously big in San Diego. I'm sure
Oh,
you
yeah.
guys may know or may not know, but the famed Casey barbecue restaurant where Kelly McGillis and Anthony Edwards and Tom Cruise were at, where he
Mhm.
was playing Great Balls of Fire. That restaurant is actually still there. They did have a
Ooh.
big fire that broke out though in 2009, I think, and
Oh
some
my
of the
God.
memorabilia did get destroyed though. But the piano was saved
Oh,
mercifully.
shit.
But you can still
Oh,
go
wow.
there, and they still have like it looks just like how it looked though. And on the outside of the restaurant, it has there's a sign that says "Home of the sleazy bar scene" in Top Gun, July of May of 1986.
Oh,
And
wow.
Tim also says another
Wow.
one that he liked that the general public didn't like: Deuce Bigelow, European Gigolo. That's another one that he.
I think my husband watched that and he liked it. I'm like, you're crazy. It's not that
Yeah. So,
good.
but back to my Top Gun tangent though, was
Okay.
that the film for me kind of had meaning. Having a family who was in the Marine Corps and in the Navy here in San
Yeah.
Diego. And so much so that my friend, one of my friends, Matt Lehman Jr., Matt is a former member of the U.S. Army, and he's been playing on a military hockey team here in San Diego. But we were actually at a minor league baseball game, like the year after COVID hit, when they were starting to let fans back into games, and we were talking because him and our hockey friends group were going out in the middle of the summer and playing inline hockey, roller hockey, at a rink about half an hour north of my house. And we were like beginning to kind of like think about, we should probably like put a team together, just go, just to play and have
Yeah.
fun, kill the time and stuff. And we were not quite set on a name, we weren't set on a name. So we were actually leaning towards calling ourselves the Avengers because we were big, we're big Marvel fans. Like we were going to use the Avengers A, and Matt said, you
Mhm.
know what? Let's scrap the Avengers thing and let's call ourselves the Mavericks for Top Gun, the movie, because it
There
was
you go.
filmed in San Diego, and things like that. So
Yep.
we basically have ran with it, like to the point now where we're like, we're making jersey concepts for the team. Like we're doing a lot of that sort of stuff. Though, and again, we're merely playing just to play for shits and giggles and to have some
Yeah.
beer, make
Yeah.
friends and go from there. But
Yep.
the second movie, I think, though, was like a real good, like, I don't know how to really phrase it, but like someone who didn't grow up with the first film kind of knew the storyline of the first movie, but it was told like in a new
Mhm.
way.
Mhm.
We know obviously that Goose dies and his son is
Yeah.
now being in the Navy, wants to
Mhm.
wants to follow his dad's footsteps, but he has some
Yep.
animosity towards,
Maverick.
Captain
Yeah.
for what happened, and things like that.
Mhm.
So it was like a new version of the story, but still following that original storyline. And then honestly, seeing Val Kilmer in the shape that he's in that film,
Oh,
I know it's like
jeez.
not only done to like age him, but like knowing that he actually like they used his actual throat condition
Mhm.
where Iceman couldn't talk and all he could do was just
Yep.
type on the computer,
Mhm.
was like cool, but also like heartbreaking at the same time,
Yeah, it
knowing Val's
was.
condition.
Mhm.
With that though, Christy, we'll start with you on our next topic here.
Okay.
Simple question or simple topic. Give us your top 2 or top 5 actors.
This is gonna be tough.
This
I
is hard.
know
This
for
is a lot
one,
harder
this is
than it looks
harder.
like.
This is harder than picking 5 movies. 5 of my favorite movies. All right, top 5 actors. I'm gonna go Paul Newman.
Okay, good
Just
one.
love him. Harrison Ford, the best, obviously. Let's see, Tom Hanks.
I love Tom Hanks.
Who's next? Let's see. Favorite actor or actress? Probably go Elizabeth Taylor.
Good one. Okay.
There you go. And who's the next one? God, this is tough. I'm trying to find a fifth one. Clint Eastwood.
All right. There you go. There's a good 5.
Yeah,
All right.
there you go.
Mr. Bacon, what you got for your top 5 actors? I know Adam said 2, but let's go with 5.
Yeah.
We'll go Jim Carrey, Robin Williams,
Mm-hmm.
Harrison Ford, I'll go Adam Sandler, and trying to think of one other.
Yes, folks, this is a lot harder than it
It's way harder than it looks.
It is harder.
You really have to think here.
We'll go Eastwood, Clint Eastwood.
There you go.
Yeah, great choice. Great choice. Yeah, I mean, again, there's no right or wrong answers if you're naming your top 5 actors. Again, it's all your, your thoughts. And and okay, top 5 for me. Okay, I'm going to try to stay away from Star Wars, with this one as well. I'll go with
another movie. But.
Yeah, of course. Unless they're in another movie, I agree. Right. Arnold Schwarzenegger for sure.
Definitely.
Love Arnie and the Terminator. So Arnold Schwarzenegger, Chris Evans. Got to go Chris Evans. Outside of Captain America, Knives Out, other things he's done.
Yep.
So Arnold Schwarzenegger, Chris Evans. Let's see. There's 2. As you can tell, this is a very tough topic when you have to name us on the spot. I'll go Adam Sandler for sure. Longest Yard, Happy Gilmore. Definitely those for sure. I would only I'm going, and you know what? I'm going to go Chris Farley simply for him on Saturday Night Live, merely for my name is Matt Foley. I'm 37 years old. I am divorced, and I live in a van down by the river. So definitely with Chris Farley, and also the
so
fact
good in Tommy Boy with David Spade. That was hilarious.
Mm-hmm. So there's good. 4, and then number 5 for me. Though it's tough to break away from Star Wars, I would have to put Mark Hamill in there. I
there
need to put Mark Hamill in there because it was cool because Mark once said, and he was actually here in San Diego. Yeah. So there's actually a road up from where I live. It's on Castleton Drive in San Diego, where Mark used to live here locally when his dad was in the Navy. Mm-hmm. And though Mark is from the Bay Area, Mark at this press conference said, I never truly had a hometown because my dad was in the Navy. I was always traveling and stuff. But if I had to pick my hometown, I would pick San Diego, California. So it's actually, the city actually has a special honorary Mark Hamill Drive street name on top of Castleton Drive here in the Claremont neighborhood.
Cool.
Chris writes his in. Okay, we got Denzel Washington.
There you go.
Tom Hanks, Johnny Depp. Definitely him portraying Willy Wonka. Also, of course, Captain Jack Sparrow. Adam Sandler and Seth Rogen.
Yep.
Right,
pretty good list there. As you welcome
I was
on
going to mention
man.
something about Mark Hamill. Nobody voiced a better Joker than he did.
I agree, 100%.
In the Batman animated series.
Yes. As you welcome on our good man James Gonzalez. James, we're kind of throwing you into the fire here, my friend. We're going to take you back to the first topic, James. Give us a movie that you personally liked, but the general public or other people found to be dumb.
Pootie Tang. That's easy. Everyone I know hates it, except my brother and I. And thank goodness he had me watch that when I was like 10 or 11 when I didn't get any of the references. But wow. It's grown on me over the years. And yeah, that's where it all went downhill from there. Now I'm a mess.
Okay.
But yeah, privately. So yeah, I think Pootie Tang will try to be one. See, my mom kind of sheltered me from all those like late 90s, early 2000s, high school movies where
Right.
they're all like dumb, not another teen movie.
10 Things I Hate About You.
All those, yeah, even that
Oh, there
one,
you
like
go.
I had to watch on a
Oh.
rebound.
Oof.
I liked it, but yeah, it was definitely Pootie Tang for me, Calvin.
Yeah, even my man Chris Bulow is even laughing about that answer. That is a great answer
that.
though. Yeah. I mean, and thank
I
goodness
saw all the quotes too.
Yeah, and thank goodness it happened while James was like 10 or 11, so like
Yeah.
nothing further got out of control. With that, James, staying again on the like entertainment side, rapid fire, James, list your top 5 actors for us.
Is this entertainment hour? What it's supposed to be?
Yeah, sure.
Yeah, it's
eventually we'll be back,
it's
folks.
entertainment hour disguised as kicking it tonight.
There you go.
That's right. Sidney Poitier is one of my favorites.
Nice.
Just man, I don't have. Yeah, Tom Hanks has to be up there. Oh goodness. Oh man. I get Eddie Murphy, but in the 80s, not the 90s.
Yeah, like Beverly Hills Cop and that sort of thing.
There was a significant drop after the 90s, or after the 80s. David Spade was right on that. Because all the other movies in the 90s were awful. Maybe except Doolittle, but I didn't watch that probably. Man. Yeah, Denzel is right there. Yeah, I have to agree with Chris with that.
Ooh.
Okay, that's what, 3 there.
Yep.
About 3.
As you can tell, folks, this topic is tough.
It is tough.
I was thrown into the fire. Remember?
Yes.
You were.
Leonardo DiCaprio. I've always liked his portrayals of people, especially in Catch Me If You Can. That's one of my favorite movies of all time. Definitely that, and Once Upon a Time in Hollywood. And then probably my 5th. Jeez. See, I don't like anybody like too mainstream, even though I named like 3 that are mainstream. But after that, I'm like, it's random. Give me Chris Rock.
Okay.
Bad one.
Yeah, I like anything really with Chris Rock. I've always liked almost everything. Even Good Hair was a good one. I Think I Love My Wife. Of course, Pootie Tang is a classic. I've never seen that, but I get the gist of it.
Right.
Yeah, so I think that's my top 5, just on the spot.
Yeah, and then Chris also says thumbs down, except Jim Carrey movies. And I actually left Jim Carrey off of my top 5, and I'm very angry at myself because I was already nicknamed that by a good friend of mine in high school 11 years ago because he could never get my name right, and he thought I was a funny guy, so he always just called me Jim Carrey for some reason. So, I mean, Ace Ventura, Dumb and Dumber, The Mask.
Oh, I love The Mask.
Robert Redford.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, no, he's good. He's
put him in there.
Yeah, he's great. He's brilliant.
Yeah, it's just a lot of ones, but they're mainly from like back then. Like Jimmy Stewart was always cool, just in his roles, I guess. But there's so many I can think of. I would need the top 20.
And then Chris says horrible movies, laughing face.
I've never seen any of the Ace Venturas. I've never seen them.
I've seen both of them.
Laces out.
Laces out, Dan.
I get him.
I prefer The Mask myself, but that's just me.
And then one other honorable mention for me has got to be Will Ferrell. I mean, Anchorman. You know,
Yeah.
that was literally about San Diego news back in the day at one point in time.
Oh my God.
You know, other, you know, movies like that. And then Chris also says, you're not missing out, sadly. Yeah, that is.
I do like Adam Sandler movies too.
Yeah.
They're especially
Happy
the ones
Gilmore,
later
Click,
on
Longest Yard.
where there's
Those are
like nice things that happen in the movies, like nice lessons or something.
Right.
You see that later on in his movie. That's what I kind of like too. He kind of made it a family, and also brought his family into movies as well.
Oh, geez.
So I kind of like that he did that.
Right. Obviously, you know, Adam Sandler films for me are, you know, Happy Gilmore, The Longest Yard. You know, because I thought the remake of the Longest Yard, I think, was better than the first one. Even though I'm glad that Burt Reynolds was in the remake too.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And then, you know, Click was a good movie. You know, there's like the main three I can think of with Sandler in it. But, you know, Happy Gilmore for sure for me is like number one, along with The Longest Yard for sure.
You know, Funny People threw me off because it was a real serious, dramatized movie, and it had all those comedians in it. That threw me the hell off when I saw Sandler, Leslie Mann in that. I was so shocked.
Oh, I think Chris threw in Big Daddy as well as a good Adam
That's,
Sandler film as well.
That's up there. That's top 5 for his movies. Yeah.
And then you have Pixels, which is another one. Is a kind of paid homage to video games, sort of. And
Yeah, like a video game,
too.
almost like a live,
Kong,
almost like the live version of Wreck-It Ralph.
Yeah.
John C. Reilly
Wreck-It.
voiced Ralph. Yeah.
He's a good actor too. He's funny as hell.
Oh, him and Farrell in Talladega Nights.
Yeah.
Shake your leg, baby.
Yeah.
If you ain't first,
You know, he's doing a really good Jerry Buss right now in Winning Time on HBO. Oh, I've seen that one. I had to
he would tell you how much he liked that movie. He would tell you how much he loved it.
Popeye's chicken is the shiznit. And not just that, Chris, San Diego's own POD wrote the theme song for that film. School of Hard Knocks was also in that film as well. Actually, I don't know if anyone knows, but I did meet POD's lead singer, Sonny Sandoval, at a Division II volleyball match I was calling around this time last season because his daughter, Marley, was playing at a university in Honolulu. So where I was sitting courtside, literally directly behind me, it was the entire Sandoval family sitting behind me. So anytime I said her name, I made sure it was like nice and happy, even though she was on the visiting team, to get, you know, mom and dad and, you know, brothers and sisters and the grandparents to, you know, to applaud. And, you know, Sonny is a really great guy. And, you know, POD, probably one of the, other than Blink-182, honestly, probably one of the biggest bands out of San Diego that probably everyone out there knows about, you know, other than Blink. And
Youth of the Nation was such a moving song at that time. Unbelievable.
Oh, yeah. Amazing.
Yeah, and it's you know, it's not cool, but it's very moving that every 9/11, you know, obviously because we all know what the day means to all of us in some capacity. But every year though, you know, the band puts out like, you know, yes, this is the anniversary of our album Satellite, and I think they wrote last Monday that out of all the albums and stuff that they have written in their career, that was the one that really, I think, still holds a place in their hearts for the fact of what happened on the day it was released. Some of the events that had taken place here, notably locally. I think we had a couple of high school shootings in 2001 here in San Diego, out at Santana High, and I think somewhere else there was another shooting. Obviously, 9/11 with what it meant to the whole country, but also that Sonny wrote a song though at the very end of the album after his mom passed away, as like a love song / like, you know, farewell to his mom. So, you know, that album for them, and even for myself, because I was, you know, very young when that album came out, and like, you know, Alive and Boom and Youth of the Nation were like always on radio in 2000, 2001, you know, around that time. And shout out to our good man, the Ace of Spades, Adam Barber, who says, thank you guys for filling in. And thanks to Callan for hosting the program. Anytime, my friend. That's why we're here. That's why we're here on a Monday night, to take care and make sure the show gets done, and that we can provide our viewers some great commentary, and not just that, you know, hear everyone's thoughts, you know, about, you know, stuff away from the sports world. With that, guys, we'll move away from some entertainment talk here and get to our next topic here, which, guys, I think we all know that it's still tough right now. I think for us, or for anyone, or for that matter, I think for anyone to find work still, even 3 years after COVID. I know that there's still friends of mine who are working, remotely. They're working hybrid, where they're going, home and then office, home or office, stuff of that caliber and whatnot. And we know, of course, that things are still rocky. We're still building our way out of the hole from 3 years ago. So, Christy, I'll start with you on this one. Tell us a job you thought you could do, but turned out it was too hard to do. What do you think it would be?
I know for me, I worked in the kitchen of a nursing home one time. And it was that's when I realized I'm just not cut out for that kind of work. I'm just better off doing what I've been doing for a little over 9 years, which is working in a fast food place. It was just hard.
Yeah, I have one of my very close friends, Christian Enciso, one of my very, very, very close friends. He lives up in the north part of the county. He works in senior resident living, and he's been working here basically since we started working with the indoor soccer team here about over a decade ago. And
wow,
there's times I tell him, like, dude, I don't know how you do this. Like, obviously, my heart goes out to you, man. But working with so many people, kind of at the end of their, sadly coming to the end of the line, and you're serving up their breakfast, lunch, and dinner, and you're making, you're connecting with them, but because I know that he's had a few, residents of his who he's talked about, like, their time in the military. He's heard a lot of really, like, cool stories, and that's what's really cool. About I think it's cool about, like, the line of work that you are in sometimes, because you get to, like, pick people's brains. Whether it's residential living in sports or any sort of role like that. With that in mind, Chris, how about you? What do you believe is a job that you thought you could do, but turned out it was too hard to do?
Kind of in the medical field, I thought, like, like helping in a hospital. And I know there's different positions that they're there, but, like, maybe the tech kind of side of things, coming in, helping the patient with something. But I don't know if I, could possibly do that.
Yeah, definitely. I would agree with, like, medical field. And again, this is even pre-COVID, and then during the course of COVID, I remember, and before we get to James, I remember actually at the ESPY Awards, I want to say in 2020, when the world did shut down, they still held the ESPY Awards on ESPN virtually. And I believe it was a Canadian boxer named Kim Clavel, who I've been following on the web for a while. And I remember hearing a story that I think Kim won the Arthur Ashe Award for courage, because Kim was like in the middle of her pro boxing career. And when COVID hit Eastern Canada, where she's from, Kim told ESPN that she dropped her career to go and help out in the Canadian hospitals as, like, a RN. And I think she already, like, had a degree in that field on top of being a boxer. And she really, like, talked about, she really went in depth of, like, hey, I would go in, put, I'd be sterile, putting on all the COVID gear and stuff.
Yep.
And I couldn't go home to my mom or go see my coach to go and work out, because, like, I'd be putting, 10, 12, 14, 16-hour shifts in every day. And, like, literally, like, dropping her boxing career, where I think we all know, and again, I love and respect the hell out of anyone who's in martial arts, boxers, kickboxers, Muay Thai fighters, you name it, and I follow a lot of them on the web that are locals here in San Diego, or just in general. Like, the amount of work that they put in every day in the gym, even when they don't feel like being there. And then for Kim to drop her, like, basically drop her career for 6 months to go help the Canadian hospitals out, was really cool. And I'm glad, and I'm really, like, proud that she won the award for the Arthur Ashe Award for humanitarian contributions, or whatever the award was, for courage, again, to, like, basically drop her career and go and help out the those in the COVID units in Eastern Canada. Was very, very uplifting. So with that, James, how about you? Give us a job that you thought you could do, but turned out it was too hard to do.
Well, it's funny how y'all mentioned nursing home and working in the kitchen. That's what I've
Yeah.
been doing the last 10 years plus,
Wow.
and just working with like in the kitchen since I was 13. I'd come down to San Diego from LA every summer and do that with my aunt. So I've just been working behind the scenes with everything, with catering and all that. So
Yeah.
I think being out front anywhere, it would be hard for me. So like anything, like Callan does, using his voice
Oh.
would be tough. I have a huge, stuttering problem trying to figure out what to say. If it's not scripted, throw me into the fire, so to speak. And then, life isn't a video game. So,
Definitely.
anything military, I know my dad pressured me to go in, when I was like 12, 13, at least do, ROTC and all that, but I never did. I probably should have, the way I am now.
Right.
But imagine, just being on the front lines and having to, execute and then, uh, kill or be killed, basically. And that goes to being a fireman, being a policeman, Coast Guard, all the military people.
Yeah.
I don't, I'm horrible at Call of Duty when I play that. There's no just sitting in the corner, camping
No.
out in
Right.
real life or whatever.
Cap.
So
Cap.
yeah. So yeah, I give credit to all the military personnel who have to do that.
Yikes.
So yeah, I don't think it's a. I mean, I could try it, but again, life is not a video game. You don't get spawned right back to where you were. So I'm always no. There's no way I could do it because I would have my trigger finger would go off. I'd shoot at the wrong people. It'd be really bad.
Ay.
That reminds me of all those like Star Wars reels I would see on Instagram of like cosplayers that are like Imperial officers who pick up the lightsaber and they're like, "What is this thing?" And then they turn it, and then they activate it. The lightsaber activates and it goes through their eye or something like that.
Right.
And yes, absolutely. And Adam writes his in. He says, "Bus driver, that did not go well."
I don't know how they do it.
As long as
screaming kids in the back and everything. Oh God.
It's to the point where you want to just like have the chancla laying around somewhere, just throw it at them. You know what I'm saying? Those kids in the back of the bus.
Shut up.
That reminds me of Billy Madison. Remember Chris Farley was the bus driver?
Or how about
when all the kids got on
or an airplane?
Oh no.
Oh yeah. Try to drag Lanier and Walton down the sideline all 40 minutes.
My dad says you don't hustle on defense.
Yeah. I just like Chris Farley's thing when all the kids got on and he's like, "No yelling on the bus," and he's the only one yelling.
Oh man.
Whoa.
Yeah, it was actually funny. We were talking about Airplane the movie at my women's soccer match. Something came up yesterday on Sunday because I get there about 90 minutes before game time, so I make sure that I'm ready to go and I can check over the script and stuff. And when something came up about Airplane, I forgot what we were talking about, and something came up about Airplane, and that's when I said the quote, like the little kid who came up into the cockpit telling Kareem, Kareem, my dad says that you don't hustle back on defense. And then literally like my boss made the quote about dragging Walton up and down the floor for 48 minutes. And we all about died from laughing in the press box. It was,
oh my God.
It was so great.
That was nuts.
I like the jive talk scene with the ladies and the black people sitting there. And the two ladies are like, "Oh no, I speak jive. It'll be okay." And then they talk in their way. That was cool.
I am serious, and don't call me Shirley.
Don't do it.
That's always always sticks out. That's always in my head every time I think of the movie Airplane. I'm not doing it.
Don't do it.
Nope.
I mean,
Nope.
I mean, for me though, and it's like James said, because like all I've ever done in my career has been, I've worked I did radio for a bit when I was getting my degree. I did student run television. I've done job shadows at radio stations and TV stations. And obviously for 15 years, I've been working in sports media as a announcer, play-by-play, public address, and a writer and a VO artist in an MC. And the one thing that I thought I could do, but turned out it was hard, conversion crew at the sports arena. So if anyone has ever like seen those time-lapse videos of like, for example, like Crypto.com Arena going from a basketball game to a hockey game to a concert. So twice. So I got hired by the local entertainment union here, the IATSC Local 122.
All right.
Because I was looking to make some extra money over the summer, 2 years ago, roughly.
Oh,
so the first day that I was on the conversion crew was Journey and Toto in April of 2022. So maybe in last year at Pechanga Arena, the sports arena here in San Diego. So I was working with guys I already had worked with on our arena crew. So the union hires all of the camera operators. They hire guys who do cameras. They do stuff that we put up on the Jumbotron during the game. So they employ other people, and then who we bring in from the team into the arena. So they're like, yeah, hey, it'll be a long day, but it'll be cool. It's another side to it, like another side to, what you usually do. So I kid you not, it was a 7:30 a.m. call the day of the show. So again, Journey and Toto were going to play at like 7:30 in the evening. So we have practically 11 hours to build the stage, rig everything, put all the floor seats out, and have everything ready to go by the time the doors open at like 6 o'clock or 6:30. So I get dropped off at like 7 in the morning, do a quick COVID test, and I'm able to go into the building. And yeah, I don't know if I froze up there. If I did, I apologize.
You did. Yeah,
but anyway, so the first day of the conversion crew. So I mean, I get there like 7:30. So thankfully, I was with guys I was working with that I would have worked with during a hockey game. But I mean, we're moving heavy duty equipment. I mean, we're loading up the drum sets. We're speakers, different cameras, the LED wall for the projections and the spotlights on the band and stuff like that. And so we worked from like 7 to like noon, took a break for lunch, and still had stuff to do. So thankfully it was me and one of my other guys I worked with, and we were with the video guys, and they were nicest guys I could have met. And I said, hey, I'm just letting you know it's my first time on the conversion crew, and stuff. Like, no worries, man. I'm going to make this as simple for you as I can. But even then, though, by the time that we got everything done, we got it done with still like 2 hours or 3 hours to kill. But we literally went into the back of the arena, and I about passed out. Like, this is not what I was expecting. But man, we got it done. So then we had a long wait because the fact that, now we have to actually have the show go on. So me and some coworkers went and grabbed some dinner, and we kind of hung out in the arena. We were able to listen to the concert. I kid you not, by the time that Journey got off the stage, we were already out there breaking stuff down because they had to get to their next destination.
Oh, okay.
So we broke everything down, and we were out of the arena at like 1 o'clock in the morning, and we had them on their way to their next spot. I'm like, I'm never doing this again whatsoever. So thankfully, I'm still a part of the union, though, and I am able to so when I help them out, I basically just run the scoreboard for the lacrosse games that are played indoors. And that is a super easy 8-hour payday. Yeah. Because all the games are on ESPN or they're on national television. So it's a pretty easy payday just to push buttons and start and stop the clock. But still, conversion crew, though, if you're thinking about it, I hope you would have some experience. Don't be like me and go in without any experience whatsoever. With that, guys, we'll get to our final topic for the night here. Of course, I believe today was National Cheeseburger Day on September 18th. me and my folks actually had some cheeseburgers for lunch today. We didn't go out anywhere, but we made them at home today. But guys, there were plenty of offers, including, I believe, McDonald's today did 50-cent double cheeseburgers for the celebration today. Christy, I even think Carl's Jr. and Hardee's even did something today for the event. So, Chris,
Actually,
Adam didn't really give me like any sort of question for this, but Chris, let's do your go-to cheeseburger or burger toppings, because there's not much to go here. But in honor of National Cheeseburger Day, go-to toppings for the cheeseburger for you are what?
Lettuce, tomato, maybe ketchup and mustard, or ketchup and mayonnaise. It just depends. But that's probably what I would pick. And of course, your lettuce, tomato, and the meat.
Yep.
Are you a sauce guy or no sauce guy?
Sauce.
Queso ketchup.
Okay.
Ketchup or mustard.
Yeah.
All right. That's a winning combination right there. James, how about you? Go-to toppings on the burger.
Okay, put lettuce and tomato, but put it on the side, chop it up, and make it into a salad, and convince everybody that it's a healthy thing.
Yes. That's one way of doing it.
Onion rings, barbecue sauce, bacon with the cheeseburger, no onions.
Oh my God, I'm starting to think of a burger I used to serve at Hardee's, the Western
bacon
cheeseburger.
The
Western bacon cheeseburger. That's exactly
yes,
it.
That's my go-to.
That's exactly what I want.
I eat it without the onion rings. I love it.
Yes.
I don't like onions. I don't like mustard or pickles. So yeah, basically the Western cheeseburger, but add bacon.
I mean that's fair.
That's the best thing
that's
ever.
Totally fair. Christy, what would you go with?
I would go cheese, bacon, ketchup, and mustard, and that's it on my cheeseburger. I hate pickles. I'm not a big lettuce or tomato person, and I don't care for onions or onion rings.
Yeah, James practically read my mind, but I would throw some jalapenos on there just make it a little bit like a spicy Western,
Yeah,
basically.
the spicy Western. There you go.
Yeah,
I think every month I try the poppers at Carl's Jr. and then I question myself 5 minutes later. Even with the ranch dressing.
Do you have jalapeno poppers? Nope.
Well, yeah, and while you're sitting on it, and while you're sitting on it, and you're collecting your thoughts, you're thinking to yourself, why did I choose to torture myself today?
Yeah, why?
Yeah, like a damn coupon is there every month. I'm like, oh, it shouldn't be so bad this time, and every time it's bad.
And then you're like,
Yeah, I think the worst is like, I don't want to, TMI if this is the case, but I think the worst is like when you do eat it and then like it hits you like hours later at like 2 o'clock in the morning.
You have to get up and sit on the toilet for that.
It's like, oh,
that's so bad.
It's like, exactly. You're like you're barely awake and stuff
you're
like
half
that.
asleep and everything.
Yeah.
I just need milk right away to get out the spice on the tongue. That's it.
No, that was like when Thomas Burnett wrote in like the first Kickin' It episode I did when I came on C2C last month, and I think Adam rolled out sandwich toppings. He rolled out sandwich toppings, and something came up of like, because I mean we know Isaiah's food choices are all over the place.
They're all wacky.
I mean, this guy literally did a like barbecue brisket sandwich on glazed donuts with chocolate M&Ms on top of it.
And I'm thinking
stuff
to myself,
like that.
Please, don't make me stick my face in the toilet and start puking.
And then Thomas was like, man, this sandwich sounds like it's going to need like a couple gallons of milk and like some Pepto or Imodium or something like that. And then, I did like barbecue chicken with like, some jalapenos, some sriracha sauce, and then I think Adam did like tuna, I think. And then he said that he was a Miracle Whip guy. Like, who cares if you're a Miracle Whip guy?
I mentioned in the chat, I used to make tuna fish sandwiches and I would use Miracle Whip instead of mayonnaise, and that's how I would eat it. So
yeah, I always, I consume a lot of fish during the Lent season every Friday during Lent, the like February till March or whenever Easter hits. So like, and it's cool though, because having worked at 2 religious universities in San Diego and still working at one now, is one of the first years I was at the school I currently work at, the University of San Diego, during baseball season, every Friday they had fish tacos in wake of Lent being a thing on campus because it is a Roman Catholic university. So they made sure that, people could come to the game, but if they're still observing Lent as I was, they would have alternate options.
Yes.
I know for a fact too that even during hockey season, like during that time, they would usually bring in a very, very great family-owned Greek restaurant here, just up the street from where I live here, and they would bring in Euro meat and stuff, and pita sandwiches and stuff like that, and I would be like in high heaven during Lent.
Euros, yum yum.
And then of course, and again, if you observe Lent like I do, you also see, like even fast food joints will do filet of fish Friday, $1.29 over at McDonald's. Jack in the Box and their fish sandwiches. Chick-fil-A even breaks one out too as well during the Lent observation period as well, for sure too. So, man, a lot of, I don't think other than maybe Mickey D's, I don't really think I've had a bad fast food burger. But then again, at the same time, I'm always in the mood for chicken for some reason. Jack in the Box, Wendy's, somewhere else. Even an
Carl's
Arby's,
Jr.
Carl's Jr. And even if my folks go to Arby's, I get their wings that they've been advertising. The wings are very good.
Wow.
Yeah.
I'll try it then.
Hey, if you're gonna try them, James, try the hot honey barbecue. It's almost like a mashup of barbecue with some Nashville hot honey drizzle on there.
Oh boy.
Yeah,
get some milk first.
It's not as bad as you might think it is. It has some kick, but not overbearing. Oh my goodness, where's the milk? Or break out the fire hose. It's that bad. You know what I'm saying?
Get the fire extinguisher out.
Fire extinguisher, Tums, Sprite, water, milk.
Just gulp the whole bottle down.
Yeah. Someone go grabbing the milk. Where's it at? And how. With that in mind, guys, that was actually our final topic for the night. We actually somehow made it to the hour mark already here on this Monday night edition of Kickin' It here with Callan, Crispy, Christy, and James on this Monday night as we start a new week of programming here on Coast to Coast. Again, we'll have Between the Ropes for you guys on Tuesday. And I'll be back with you on Thursday for Press Row. And again, you can catch Four Bros Radio later on tonight and also on Friday. And of course, on deck on Saturday. And plenty more on Sunday as well. With that in mind, we'll go around the room here, around the horn for some final thoughts. Mr. Bacon, final thoughts for the night's program are what?
Yeah, thanks everyone for watching, tuning in. Good show tonight. And it's just fun to talk random stuff here, that's other than sports.
And that is the beauty of Coast to Coast Entertainment. We have programming for, as we say, sports, life, and everything in between. With that, Christy, thank you for coming on your potential off night. Again, we know that we'll see you on Between the Ropes tomorrow to recap all the high-flying action from Monday Night Raw on Monday from tonight, I should say. But Christy, any final thoughts to pass along?
No, just thanks for having me on. It's always fun to do the show when I'm on, and can't wait for tomorrow to do Between the Ropes.
I'm sure we'll have a lot to unpack from the wide world of pro wrestling tomorrow. As I believe we're getting close to another pay-per-view coming up pretty soon on the WWE calendar. And who knows, and all I'm going to say, because I mainly have only been watching sporadically because I'm very intrigued to be watching how Dom Mysterio is doing as probably, honestly, probably in all respect, probably one of the best heels I've seen in quite some time, and I've not watched it in quite a while. But for him to be forging his own,
but it's great.
For him to be forging his own path, though, and the way he's doing it, though, is just really great to see. Not be more proud of him for what he's done, even though it's scripted and he's being the bad guy right now. But still, it's just been great, though, kind of seeing kind of getting out of Dad's shadow a little bit and stuff like that, and going on from there. But again, catch Christy and the Between the Ropes gang on Tuesday night back here on C2C. Mr. Gonzalez, thanks for popping in at somewhat the last minute, man. But any final thoughts to pass along? What do you got?
I was going to say thank you for having me squeeze in. Very tight fit. I needed butter to get into here.
You sleep with the
It's very past my bedtime. I'm hoping the melatonin kicks in soon. I gotta be up at 5. But yeah, hey, good topics. At first, of course, I need more actors. I need to expand my movie mind more, definitely.
Me too.
Then the food always gets me, of course. The food topics always. But yeah, I'm hoping to make next week. We'll see. But hey, I guess check me out on Sports Minute coming up on Wednesday here on Coast to Coast Network, and plenty of other programming going on. And I will catch everyone next time. Good night, everybody.
Absolutely. And with that, folks, my final thoughts again. Thanks to everyone who tuned in, to Chris and to Tim, and of course to our good man Adam Barber, who cannot join us tonight. And again, also as well that Isaiah and Adam both were off tonight, so we had a bit more of a tamer and a more civilized version of Kicking It on this Monday night. But again, folks, again, join us back here again on Tuesday for Between the Ropes with our pro wrestling crew, including our gal pal Christy Wilson and the rest of the crew for Between the Ropes on Tuesday. We'll have Sports Minute for you on Wednesday. I'm back with you on Thursday on Press Row at 1 o'clock Pacific time to talk about a lot going on in the sports world on the media and broadcast and the business side of things on Thursday. And again, we'll have Keeping It Real on Friday. We'll also have 4 Bros coming up for you either later tonight or on Friday, one of the two given. And then, of course, we'll have plenty of weekend coverage with the morning tailgate and on deck on Saturday and Sunday. With that, folks, for Chris Mabry, Christy Wilson, and James Gonzalez, yours truly, Cal McClurg, saying goodnight here from across the good old US of A. I'm going to spend the night. We'll see you back here on Tuesday for our pro wrestling coverage of Between the Ropes back here on the Coast to Coast Entertainment Network. Till next time, folks, good night.